I want to talk about an update to the Trump classified documents case. I'm actually looking on my phone at a bunch of headlines. Bloomberg, Trump records case takeaways include 1,545 pages of classified materials. And we find this repeated. CBS News, CNBC, NPR, the Daily Beast. The whole idea here is that there are more than 1,500 classified documents. Well, as it turns out, as you begin to look a little more closely, you realize this is actually nonsense. There aren't, in fact, that many documents. This is an intentionally inflated number. Included in the 1,500 documents are 625 interview-related pages which were produced by the DOJ. This is the DOJ's own summaries, their own interview transcripts. So these aren't the actual documents. Not to mention the fact that when the NARA, the National Records, the Archives, contacted Trump about turning in documents, Trump turned in a bunch of documents. Those documents obviously were turned over to the archives. They're not part of this case, but they're counted in the 1,500 documents. So what we have here is that the Biden DOJ is leaking information to the media, trying to make this look like a much bigger deal than it is. We will find out as we get closer to the case, what documents are we talking about, and are they even classified? The DOJ is already using a kind of euphemistic or disguised terminology. They're not even talking about classified materials. They're talking about documents with, quote, classified markings. So a document can have a classified marking, but it could be that Trump has declassified it. It's not actually classified. It may have a classified marking, and it's kind of like saying I'm looking at a check with Dinesh's signature. Well, the check may have been voided. It may have been cashed. It's not actually a check that you can take to the bank. I'm looking at a check with Dinesh's signature. Yes, but that's not an actually valid check. Similarly, when we're talking about these classified documents, where the question is this in fact classified? Now, quite separate from all this, there's a battle going on, just resolved, between the Trump people and the DOJ over when is this trial going to occur. And the government wanted the trial to occur this fall. In fact, in August. So next month, an immediate trial, kind of like, let's just go for it. Let's just get this matter squared away. The Trump people said, let's have the trial after the election because, and their reasoning is not unreasonable. They're basically saying, listen, quote, proceeding to trial during the pendency of a presidential election cycle wherein opposing candidates are effectively, if not literally, directly adverse to one another in this action will create extraordinary challenges in the jury selection process, limit the defendant's ability to secure a fair and impartial adjudication. In other words, you've got this trial going on over classified documents requiring impartial consideration, and then you've got this highly ideological presidential debate, and Trump is part of that. And so how do you separate the one from the other? How does the jury separate the one from the other? And the judge, Eileen Cannon, has kind of gone in the middle. But I think in going in the middle, she is sort of, in a sense, siding with the Trump side. Because first of all, what she's decided is that this trial is going to occur, but it's going to occur on May 20th, 2024. So let's think about that. At this point, it is very likely that Trump will be the GOP nominee going into the election. And also, setting a trial date doesn't mean the trial will in fact occur on that date. Why? Because there are often a lot of pre-trial motions, for a motion for this, and then the opposing party files its motion. The judge has to rule on these motions. So in effect, the trial gets kicked further and further back, and there's an excellent chance the trial itself will occur after the 2024 election. The judge here is very importantly pushing back on the Biden DOJ. She's in no way intimidated by the government claiming all kinds of prerogatives. The government, in fact, had the arrogance to say, in effect, that these classified documents that the government gets to say, we decide that these are classified, cannot even be seen by Trump. What? The defendant cannot view the documents in his own case where he's facing serious charges? I mean, let's think about the charges. We're dealing with conspiracy, obstruction, perjury charges, and you can't even look at the evidence? Well, the judge is having none of it. In fact, the judge goes to Jay Bratt, who is the head of counterintelligence. He's part of the prosecution team. And the judge goes, now, when I was reading the Section 3 protective orders proposed by the government, is it the government's intention to withhold certain portions of classified discovery from the defendants themselves? Defendants, because it's Trump and this other guy named Nauta. And Bratt goes, not at this point, Your Honor. Now, first of all, this is the exact opposite of what his documents say. His documents say, yes, you may have to withhold documents from Trump himself, but here he backs off. And when Judge Cannon goes, I thought there was a provision in the proposed Section 3 that did contemplate potentially withholding certain documents from defendants themselves. And Bratt goes, yes, sorry, Your Honor. Yes, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. So there's a lot of backpedaling going on here. And what this shows is that the Biden DOJ is arrogantly trying to intimidate the judge, get the judge to just go along because, after all, it is the government. We are talking about classified materials. And a little bit of whoop-de-doo is justified here because, quite frankly, this whole nonsense that we are the government, you're not the government. You're just a prosecuting arm of the DOJ, and in this case, a highly ideological DOJ. And second of all, the question is not, you can't just say classified. Materials don't become classified because you say so. There has to be an adjudication ultimately about whether or not this is classified and whether or not Trump had the absolute right to hold on to it. You don't have to live with aches and pains like people used to in the past. There is now a remedy. Debbie and I started taking Relief Factor a couple of years ago. The difference we've seen in our joints, nothing short of amazing. Aches and pains are totally gone thanks to this 100% drug-free solution called Relief Factor. How does it work? Relief Factor supports your body's fight against inflammation. That's the source of aches and pains. The vast majority of people who try Relief Factor order more because it works for them. Debbie's a true believer. She can now do the exercises that for a long time she wasn't able to do. So Relief Factor has been a big game changer for her, her aunt, other members of our family, and for many other people. You too can benefit. Try it for yourself. Order the 3-week quick start for the discounted price of just $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF to find out more about this offer. The number again to call, 800-4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. Feel the difference.